Internet. I'm InsaneLayne, and these are my first thoughts on Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4, The Spoils of War. I've been waiting for this, not just because it got leaked early, which I refused to watch. I was then actually going to watch it normal time on Sunday, and I got delayed by other stuff, and then Monday happened, and then Tuesday happened, and how is it Wednesday when I'm doing this? We open with Jaime and Bronn. They're leaving after the sack of Highgarden. Bronn is bitching about the fact that he doesn't have a castle yet. Jaime hands him like this huge ass bag of gold and he's like, yeah, great, where's my castle? This is why we love him. And he's even like, hey, what about that one back there? That seems to be available. Jaime's like, we got bigger things to worry about right now. We gotta win a war. After the war, you can have any castle you want. I was right though about people not wanting to give up their grain. I thought that was going to be Sansa's problem, but it's early on Jaime's problem because they're apparently taking all the food and leaving the residents of Highgarden to starve, like you do. The Iron Bank. We're now in King's Landing. The Iron Bank. They're very happy. Not so much to get their money back. Cersei's enjoying the praise that she's a better businessman than her father, and that she's repaying the largest sum ever. But Cersei says she's looking elsewhere for future funds. She's not really interested in dealing with the Iron Bank so much anymore, and they are not so happy with that because he makes a joke about, oh, we really liked getting your interest payments, and aren't I a dick, and we really want to keep making money off of exploiting your family. So, you need some help there, Miss Queen? She's just like, check out my beautiful floor map of the Seven Kingdoms, which is finally finished. I thought that would be like a season thing, that it would take longer, but it's finished. I want a good, like, overhead shot of the whole thing. And also a puzzle of the whole thing, because that would just be really cool. We don't see it yet. Where else do we go? We hop over to Winterfell, where we have Littlefinger giving Bran that dagger and lying through his teeth. Now, forgive me, I've seen every episode, but only once, because normally I do watch shows over and over, especially shows as complicated and convoluted with past upon past upon past to be considered. But I didn't with this show because I wanted to wait till the end of the series and then do it all as a marathon, and this is years before I ever was doing internet reviews, which I will now be doing when I do go back and watch the whole series. So I've not gone back and rewatched anything, which is probably why I don't remember the entire history of this dagger. Please ignore the fact that I'm getting taller and shorter throughout this video. I'm having chair difficulties. It's going in the garbage very soon. The dagger. I don't remember everything about this fucking dagger, okay? Please don't shout. If anybody would like to leave in the comments all the history of it, that would help. Littlefinger says it was wielded by someone who was going to kill Bran. We know that's bullshit. He says in the opening recap that it was wielded by Tyrion. I believe, again, that's bullshit. It's Valyrian steel. This is important. Not a lot of that around. And later on, Bran doesn't want it. So, it gets passed on, but we'll get there. Where are we? Okay, yeah. I was so hoping Bran would just take the knife and just like, Littlefinger for what he did to Sansa. Like, that would have made sense, okay? It would have been justified. I also like the fact that they've stopped trying to hide that the actor playing Bran is like 8 feet tall. They've just given it up. Also, Sansa, very tall all of a sudden. So I'm glad they've given up trying to keep the, the children roles looking like children. They're grown-ups now. You're gonna have to deal with it. Someone has invented the wheelchair, which is cool. And Mira is leaving. She just, unceremoniously, she's leaving. She's going back to her family. Bran responds like a dick. She says, hey, my brother died for you. A lot of people died for you, and that's all you have to say. And he kind of says, yeah, I'm not Bran Stark anymore. I'm someone else. So hopefully that means the Luke Skywalker level of whining from Bran is gone forever, because I really like this version of the character a lot better. Not really enough to justify his being dragged through, 4 seasons with really having no impact on anything. He was completely absent for an entire season. May as well have been absent from at least 2 others. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. They've got to pay off the character somehow, but it's going to have to be pretty massive to justify his existence in the series. We have over to Arya. Yes, Arya arriving at Winterfell. I did not think I would see this. I thought she would go to King's Landing, vengeance, and all that shit, but no, she wants to go home. Um, Problem is, nobody recognizes her. So she has some fun with the guards. I was kind of hoping she would just kill them, but that would be kind of not the best first impression to make when coming home. So, she talks her way in and then disappears. And Sansa knows exactly where to find her. Down in the crypts. And they comment that the statue of Ned Stark doesn't really look like Ned Stark, which is true. It doesn't. It's kind of sad. And then we have the very morbid line of it should have been carved by someone who knew his face, and they said everyone who knew his face is dead. No, except for the two of them. And Bran, but Bran's not Bran anymore. And it's so sad that, like, Jon Snow is away. He doesn't know that Arya's come back. And I'm gonna call the show out on something. I have to call your bullshit here. Ravens are such a contrived plot convenience in this show. They exist or don't exist, and have the power of, like, either teleportation or time travel, depending on the whims of the script. Because why could they not send a raven to Jon? Why did Sansa not immediately order that someone send a raven to Dragonstone announcing Arya's return and telling Jon to come home? Like, can this not be done? Did we forget ravens exist? Is Winterfell out of ravens? Seriously, how do they keep ravens in that, like, mostly cold climate? I think ravens need to be a little warmer than that, don't they? I don't know. If you live somewhere that there are ravens and it's really cold, let me know. There's such an awkwardness to the two meeting, because if we think back to when they were last together, it's first season, and they really didn't like each other. Arya thought Sansa was a spoiled, prissy bitch, just wanting to be a princess and float around a castle, and Sansa thought Arya was a tomboy who didn't know anything because she wanted to play with swords and do boy stuff. And they haven't seen each other since then, and they're both very different people now. Arya mentions her list. She asks if Sansa killed Joffrey. She's definitely disappointed to hear the answer is no. I love Sansa laughing when Arya mentions her list, and Arya's expression like, yeah, you just, okay, you'll see. You'll see, girl. Then they go to Bran, who's by the God Tree, and don't tell me Bran wheelchaired himself out there, because this kid has no upper body strength. He's been getting dragged around by everybody else. His muscles are probably completely atrophy, and it's uneven ground with snow. So, I call your cheating there, show. Like, he doesn't have Hodor to drag him around anymore. So, how did he get out there? This is where Bran gives the dagger to Arya, because he doesn't want it. And Sansa warns that Littlefinger is not a generous man. He did not give Bran that dagger for no reason. It's going to come back to something. And I'll be curious to see what that is. We have Lady Brienne also at Winterfell, and she at last gets to see her word to Catelyn Stark kept. Both Stark girls are home safe at Winterfell. Okay, then we head over to Dragonstone, where Missandei is worried about Grey Worm because no one has heard from the Unsullied. Did Jaime take all the ravens from Casterly Rock too? I'm not saying he wouldn't have thought of it, or it's not a good move, but I'm saying if we don't see it, explain the lack of ravens. Okay, we have entire fleets of ships getting places faster than a frickin' bird. Okay, that's not, no. Nothing's been heard from the Unsullied, and then we finally get to see this mountain of dragonglass, or, I wish we could see it. It's, very impressive, if seriously underlit, so I don't know really how impressive it is. But, Jon has found something that, honestly, I don't know if the art department went a little wrong here, because it just, I don't know, it doesn't look Game of Thrones-y. It looks like, honestly, I think they copied a few of those symbols from Star Trek Voyager. I'm not even kidding. The swirl. Look, there's an episode where Chakotay finds shit carved into a log, and I swear that swirl symbol is the same, and the type of carving is the same, and it took me right out of it for a minute. And it just looked odd and not like I would expect carvings to look in Game of Thrones. And I can't explain that any further than that, but that was what I thought of it. But they find the writing, and they both instantly know, somehow, that it's from the Children of the Forest. Yes, the creators of the White Walkers, those people. And there seems to be a story here that Children of the Forest and the First Men worked together against the White Walkers. Now, if I remember correctly, the White Walkers were created as defense for the Forest Children against the First Men. So then they've somehow switched sides and wound up fighting against this creation because it's gotten out of control. So yeah. And John basically says, see, told you so, should have believed me, told you so, but seriously, if we don't all work together, we're gonna die. And I still know nothing, I'm Jon Snow. I'll stay now, like, he's one of a couple of characters that seem to have had a between-seasons lobotomy. Jon, okay, he has the famous line, you know nothing, Jon Snow, okay? There's a million t-shirts with that on it because he knew nothing in the first couple of seasons. He was a clueless guy. But then he got smarter the last few seasons. Last season he was really smart most of the time. Season before, I think, is where his IQ kind of peaked. But he seems to have gone seriously backwards this season. He's acting like a mooning doofus. Like, and I don't know what's up with that hair, but it's not a good style for Kit Harington. The slick back ponytail, no. But we've got another character, Tyrion, who has also apparently cashed in his IQ, because he's seen nothing coming. He's making the wrong moves. He doesn't sound like as smart and cunning as Tyrion is known to be. And he's just kind of there. Especially this episode, except for the very end, which we'll get to. He's just kind of there, and he's very defeated. He's very, like, I think he's having issues believing in himself, obviously, because he keeps suggesting moves. She listens, and then they lose allies and ships and forces, and it's all going against him no matter what he does. This brings up the idea that there's probably a spy in their midst, that someone is tipping off Cersei or Euron or somebody as to their movements ahead of time, which would explain how Euron knew how to go trap the Unsullied. It doesn't explain the time travel he pulled off to do it. But that would maybe justify a little bit Tyrion's sudden critical fail. Back to Jon Snow and Daenerys, she says, yeah, we're all gonna die. We gotta work together. You really do know nothing. But bend the knee and we'll work together and we'll all survive. Now shelve your stupid pride and just do it. It's unclear if he did or not, because Tyrion and Varys arrive with a game of, you tell her. No, you tell her. Eventually they tell her, and Mommy is pissed. They have screwed up everything. They are royal fuck-ups. Okay? All of her friends have either been captured or killed. Most of her ships have been destroyed. I call bullshit that she has any ships left, by the way. And her army is blockaded in and about to starve. That's great advisors you guys are. So apparently feeling there are no other options, she asked Jon what to do. And he agrees. You have dragons. You could use them. You could burn your enemies to the ground, lay waste to their armies. And then he goes back to being stupid and says, but that would make you no better than those you're trying to overthrow. He really does know nothing. Then we're over to Winterfell, where Arya goes to Brienne and demands to train with her, which I like this. I like this scene. Sansa, Littlefinger, and Pulrich are watching, and this is such a great scene. The stunt work, my real hats off to both actresses and probably a lot of stunt people, but they definitely had to train for this, and I think a lot of it was done by the actual actresses themselves, so hats off to them, and it's believable, which is hard to do when you have one person who is a trained knight and like 6 feet tall and is wielding, a 5-foot sword, and then you have little Arya Stark who's like 4 feet tall and wielding needle, which looks like it's gonna break if you breathe on it too hard. But it's believable that Arya holds her own and how she does it. She's got her way of fighting versus Brienne's way, and, it's believable that these two could have an actual fight and come out at a stalemate, which they do. One of the best moments in the fight is that while Arya is great at dodging, she's doing this, she pulls a bit of a matrix, it's pretty cool, but she is still the size of Arya Stark, so Brienne kicks her in the chest, and she goes flying, and there's a moment, and there's so many layers to just this very short moment, because you have Arya being surprised that she has been knocked on her ass. She's a little too full of herself, maybe. She's killed like 100 people now. You get a certain ego from that, I'm sure. But we also have Brienne probably going like, "Oh fuck, am I like gonna lose my head or something?" But Arya, spins her legs, jumps back up with a little vicious pose that I really love. I hope there's a trading card of that. It looked awesome. And believable. She's got a bit of the dire wolf growl going on. I like that. But it ends in a draw. It's a respectable sparring match, and Sansa, for some reason, walks away looking very unhappy. Not really sure why here. But then we have, oh my god, Littlefinger's face. Okay? Like, hello, creepy. Like, he's already one of the creepiest characters that there is. Just recall his chat with the prostitute from season 1. Okay? Just recall that if you don't fully understand just how creepy this guy is. Also, he supposedly loves Sansa with all his heart because she's the daughter of Catelyn, who he is, like, soulmatingly obsessed with, even though he knew he'd never have her. He was still obsessed with her for years. Now he's obsessed with her eldest daughter. And supposedly he's in love with Sansa, and yet he gave her to Ramsay Bolton to be tortured and raped, and he knew exactly what he was doing. So, is he bullshit on his love for Sansa? But why continue the charade? Why continue pursuing her even now? And this is where it gets extra creepy, because I almost think, if you read his face, that what he might be thinking is, hey, because of all the shit I did, Sansa's never gonna give me the time of day. I don't have a chance there. But hey, Arya Stark, also daughter of Catelyn Stark. Really, really creepy. Then we pop back to Dragonstone, and I really gotta find out where they filmed this. Jon and Sir Davos are walking along that really impressive wall that goes along the cliffs. It's so beautiful. I really want to know where this is. And they find the even more impressive Missandei. And she's got a question for Jon. Why are you called Snow if you're a member of House Stark, the leader of House Stark, and now King of the North? Seems there's no concept of a bastard where she comes from because there's no marriage, so she doesn't understand this. After they explain, she lays some things out for the boys. No one here is following Daenerys because of her titles or because she's the daughter of a long-dead king they've never heard of. They chose her, like the people of the North chose Jon. Then the Greyjoy ship with Theon arrives, and Jon and Theon haven't seen each other since season 1. I was really hoping Jon would just straight slit Theon's throat. I mean, I thought in the last episode after they pulled him up and did the, if you defended her, you wouldn't be here. I was hoping they'd throw him back and leave him to drown, okay? That would have been an okay end for me to Theon. As would Jon have just walking up and slit his throat right here. That would also have worked. But no, he apparently has reason to live in the stories, yet to be told. I hope they really pay it off, because he's getting very just useless. Like, the last 2 appearances he has, he's just literally set up for other plot things. He's got like 3 lines in the last 2 episodes, so I want to know, really, why are you keeping this character around? He says, Jon says, oh, you can live because you helped Sansa escape. For now, you can live. I still hope Jon kills him. But Theon says, basically, I've come to ask the Queen for her help to rescue my sister, to which Jon replies, the Queen is not in residence just now. And as I am warming up all the cheers, because I said this, like, 2 episodes ago, and last episode, this is what I wanted, everyone knows it's what she should have done, but we'll get there. The show wants you to hold your breath just a little bit longer, because we are over to Jaime, where one very important thing gets said. The gold has passed through the gates of King's Landing, meaning the gold is safe within the city. However, the army and the supplies are still, kind of just meandering around in the fields. They don't really have their shit together. And Jaime literally gets warned that you are in a vulnerable position here, so stop sitting there and looking pretty and get a fucking move on. And then we have random soldier who is way too good looking. Now, I've heard, just on, like, sidebar videos, basically, that somebody who's, like, a famous sports player of some kind did a cameo in this episode, and I'm wondering if it's this guy, because he's just way too good looking to, like, be random knight, random guy. And he's got a couple of lines. They make a joke about his name being Dickon, which really in this show, not so odd. And then we have Braun proving that he's fucking awesome, because he's while they're talking about what it smells like to kill people, yes, literally, he's like, wait a minute, did anybody hear that? Hmm. And yes, Queen, this is what I've been waiting for. Oh yes, and that ain't just the entire Dothraki army approaching. It's a motherfucking dragon! Yes, bitch. Okay, here it is. We've been waiting for this, and right off the bat, they set every stunt guy in the known universe on fire. Seriously, there's one shot where there's like 20 people on fire. Either they CGI replicated some of these people, which by all means, or they really did set like 20 people at once on fire. And, you know, Khaleesi just rides in there like a fucking champ, just blazes a path right through their line, just like coming through, boys. And Dothraki ride right through the flames. They are slaughtering the Lannister forces. You know, Jaime gets told, you know, you're important, get the fuck out of here, you idiot. King's Landing's right there, go, just go. Jaime's like, no, I'm not gonna run like a coward. This is the whole fight. It has stages. There's the fire, which is everywhere. There's blood. It's dirty. It's lethal. They show horses dying left and right, which I was like, oh, seriously, we can see people are getting their throats slit and their heads cut off right next to it, and I'm going, oh, the horses. But tell me you didn't, okay? Tell me you didn't do that too. So it is just awesome. It's great. They try with their normal arrows, and Drogon's just like, kiss my belly. Like, fuck you. And she's flying around on the dragon. It's awesome. It looks so amazing and so much fun. The costume is great. The dragon looks fucking awesome. Like, nothing's gonna rival this for so long. But, you know, the fight's, it's going against Jaime. He's losing. It's violent as fuck. Dany makes a second pass, takes out all the wagons, the supplies, blowing up their, I guess, gunpowder or whatever. You know, stuff's blowing up, everything's on fire. You know, Jaime's just, he's fucked at this point. He's absolutely fucked. And I'm keeping in mind at this point how close they must be to King's Landing. Meaning, is Cersei watching this from the towers? How many people from King's Landing are watching this dragon fly around in the sky? Like, what kind of panic is that gonna cause? You know, the lords were already, like, saying to Cersei, well, she's got dragons, why the fuck should we back you? And, you know, she claims, yeah, I got a plan for that, and we get to see the plan. Jaime is fighting not Khal Drogo, while Bronn loses his giant bag of gold. No! And, then he makes a run for it. He again, like, tells Jaime to run. Bronn takes off through the flames. Somebody's pursuing him. And he eventually gets to a wagon with, of course, the giant crossbow that we saw in the last episode. Okay, how did they get this thing out there? How do they have this with them? I'm sorry. It doesn't, timing, you play with it a lot in this show, but this one, you know, starting to show. But I gotta admit, Bronn looks fucking badass at the helm of that thing when he's standing there like fucking Captain Ahab. He looks badass. There's like flames all around him, ashes flying. It's a good like poster shot right there. So there's that, and then he uses that to take out the one guy, and then he reloads and starts aiming for the dragon, and then we find out Tyrion is here. Huh. This is interesting because he looks, one, just why have him there? I mean, why would Daenerys want him there? Like, show off the power of her dragons, maybe, so he can see, like, you know, this is what's really being dealt with. And I know she's been questioning his loyalty, you know, saying, like, we're going against your family here. Are you really trying? So maybe making him watch his, you know, his family's soldiers, and probably his own brother, die. You know, harsh buzz. But he is there, and he just looks so sad and heartbroken. And then we see Jaime, and he's looking around at his decimated forces. Everything's on fire. There's nothing left. He's lost it all. And Braun gets the big crossbow going, but, you know, he's aiming at a dragon. He's aiming at a thing that's flying around in the sky, so understandably, he misses with the first shot, which I, honestly, if he'd hit it with the first shot, how many of us would have called bullshit? So I like that they actually do this. Danny, now aware of this weapon, goes, "Oh, no, you didn't. You did not shoot at my dragon." And she just lines up on him, like, "I'm gonna burn you, motherfucker," and rushes in, and Tyrion officially at this point looks like he might cry, and then, "No! You bastard! You shot my dragon! You shot Drogon! He's awesome! Ah! Okay. Now Mommy's really pissed, and so's the dragon. The weapon does get destroyed, blows nicely up for no reason. Bronn somehow survives, though he definitely... We're talking about dragon fire, people. Okay, the fire doesn't have to touch it. It radiates heat. He's ashes, is what I'm saying. But no, he lives because, well, he's funny. And now we have Dany making a truly stupid decision. She sets her dragon down right in the middle of this fucking chaos. Right in the middle of this goddamn battle. She just sets the dragon down and is like trying to pull the stick out. And Jaime's behind her. He sees her. Sees his chance, man. You know, if I can take out the queen. But Tyrion is also watching this from above, and he's silently banging, saying, "Run, you bastard! Run, you fool! Like, get out of here!" But Jaime decides it's a good day to die, and he charges at Daenerys' back, takes out the spear, and he's about to stab her in the back when, of course, you know, hello, I'm a dragon. And he's inches, okay, inches from the dragon's mouth. He's definitely getting incinerated. And then out of nowhere, someone that I think was cameo guy, you know, Dickon that we saw before, I think it was him, tackles Jaime out of the way, and Jaime falls into water. And we see Jaime start sinking because he's wearing all the armor and it's very heavy, and he just sinks slowly away into the darkness. And that's the act out. That's the end of the episode. And I have to call bullshit for so many fucking reasons. Where's the other guy in the water? They're literally sitting on a shoreline. The water should only be a couple of inches deep. What is he sinking into? And of course, I don't believe Jaime is dead. I call bullshit, just like I did on Lady Olenna. One, yeah, he's in the shore, the water's not that deep. What is he sinking into? Two, people are watching this. Somebody can pull him out. Tyrion's watching this. Like, how cool would it be, actually, to see Tyrion, like, go down there and try and pull him out? Well, he'd be dead by then, probably, but I'm saying we didn't see, like, I'm calling horror movie rule. We haven't seen his dead body taken back to Cersei yet, so until I see his dead body, I am not believing that Jaime Lannister is dead. I'm not doing it. You gotta prove that. Just like Lady Olenna, I need proof. We all know there's only one way Jaime Lannister can die. Slow poisoning from his sister's post-poisoning my enemy's blowjob, as the old gods intended. To wrap up, two things I'm going to call the show out on. Time travel. I mentioned it a little before, and they do admit in some of the Season 6 commentaries that they've basically had to give up having a cohesive timeline just to fit events in, but you got to do it a little better, boys. You can't have some obvious gaps like you got now, or teleporting items, or teleporting people. It still has to make some logic, because we have some events that are taking way longer than they should, and we have other events that are occurring at warp speed, and these things are supposed to be happening at the same time, and yet that would kind of blow up the universe. The other thing is, sadly, the awesome dragon footage of her riding the dragon. There's a scale problem. In the wide CGI shots, she is tiny. She's very, very tiny. She's also literally halfway down the dragon's back between its wings, and she looks very small. In the close-up shots, her entire body is roughly the size of the dragon's neck, which is what she is on. She's much, much higher on Dragon's neck. She's holding on to, like, his fins. And it was jarring for me, the difference between the two, the obvious discrepancy in terms of size. But I will forgive them, provided the cold cast porcelain statue of her riding the dragon looks kick-ass and awesome and is to an appropriate and acceptable scale. Okay? For now, I am InsaneLayne, and that was Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4, The Spoils of War. Mount your dragons, more coming next week. Bye-bye.